Hello, great Igbo people. I'm back again. Today, we are going to touch on a very important topic. Recently, we went to Abuja, House of Reps, with a document to request for the creation of Anioma State. A lot of Anioma people are in support of what we did. Actually, that wasn't the first time there was a demand for Anioma State. Dennis Osadebe also made same demand. So it's not as if what we are doing is uncalled for. No. A lot of Anioma people want an identity for themselves. Being made part of Midwestern states is not what they want. I'm going to, in this video, give you a history of how everything went. Anioma State is an Igbo project. We belong to a group called Ndena Sobia, and our idea is to unite in Igbo. And Anioma is a goal. So, long before we went for anything about the creation of Anioma State, it has been registered in the past by Dennis Osadebe. Now, look at this newspaper here. This is an old newspaper you're seeing. West African Pilot. In the light and the people will find a way, something like that written there. The price was 3 pence as at the time. It was on a particular Wednesday, September 18, probably 1960s. Volume XXVII, number 4300. Now, look at it. 3 states demand for. Okay. There are other stories because normally newspapers will have other stories at the front page. Let's read the one that concerns us. Now, get down. You see, Midwest Igbos want to join Eastern region. Midwest Igbos want to join Eastern region. Now, let's continue to read further. He wrote by our staff reporter. Now, strong demand that Western blah, blah, blah. Yoruba consisting of the Onis and the third, not consisting of the Ondos, has been met. You know, it's an old newspaper. We read what we can see from there. 3 states demand for West. Midwest Igbos want to join Eastern region. So that was when it was moved before. You understand? We were not the first people to make such demands. And it's what the Anioma people want, an identity for themselves. They were wrongly merged as if they were part of the Bini people. No, they were not part. Bini conquered some of the area, we know. But they were never part of Bini. And they want an identity because they know they are Igbo. And to support my claim, I want to put up an article for you to listen to. Listen and share widely. How Anioma found herself in Midwest. Just before independence, there was agitation for the Benin and Delta provinces under the Western region for a separate state region. The agitation was based on perceived marginalization by the majority Yoruba government. The Western region's government actually agreed, but with a slight adjustment. 1, that the Edo-speaking people should be grouped into one state. 2, that the Ishekiri should be merged to Ondo State. 3, that Asaba and Abo divisions, today's Anioma, should be merged with the Eastern region. Here comes the shocker. Do you know that the Midwest agitators furiously refused the suggestions? Their reasons: that a Midwest without the Igbo divisions of Asaba and Abo was not worth it. For the people who were seeking autonomy to blatantly refuse their desired autonomy unless they drag another ethnicity into it is indeed shocking. What then was the basis of agitation if they were not confident on standing alone? to leash off the two divisions of Abo and Asaba. Few years later, in 1963, after Nigeria's independence, Anioma followed Edo-speaking tribes into the Midwest and stayed with them for nearly 30 years. In 1991, Delta State with Anioma in it was separated from Benin. Attached material from the Henry Wellings Minority Report 1958, page 30. Copyright Kachi Amobi. Addendum. Nothing more to add. Their sentiments seem not to change after 65 years. Now I wonder why can't these people just be confident and stay on their own? Was their collective placenta buried in the old Asaba and Abo and Anioma divisions? So, it's not what to be free unless the Western Igbo are lumped to your project. They are ready to let go of the Ijaw. They dispute with the Yoruba over the status of Ishekiri and Akoko Edo, while they don't mind to remain under the Yoruba as long as the people of Asaba, mainly Enuane, and Abo, mainly Ukwane, are not part of it. No wonder they go gaga when I remind them to face their Edo. In the past, our Edo-speaking neighbors were indifferent whether we identify as Igbo or not. But it seems the chance for them to brainwash came after the collapse of the Osadebe government in 1966, and thereafter the electoral divisions were promoted. And if you notice, that is their strategy. They failed woefully to unite their tribes, yes, Edo-speaking tribes. You will notice how some of them even project the idea of no Asian must rule. Because according to those who promote this laughable idea, some Asian people disrespected them just as Igbos or IPOB. Well, in any case, the idea of restoring the Midwest is a buried issue. Even in the 1950s and 1960s, there was lots of negotiations between the Edo-speaking people and the Igbo-speaking people of Asaba and Abo divisions. After 1966, there is a little to suggest if they respected their own side of the deal. This recent idea of threatening even fellow Edo State people, the Asian, over what seemed to be fair and objective gives one the impression that these people are not ready to stick to what we agreed on. Principle. That power must not be held by a Benin for a considerable period of time. And secondly, and very important, that the hangover of the old Benin Empire must never play in our affairs in the Midwest. I am not sure they respected that between 1966 to 1991 when we gained independence from these people. If they so desire to reenact their old Bendel days, neither the names of Benin nor Delta actually represented our Aniosha people. They should stick to their Edo-speaking areas. In places like Ethiopia, India, and South Africa, languages are used to define present realities. Some still have this idea that the old Benin Empire, which ceased to exist from colonial rule, exists, contravening the deal we had in 1950s and 1960s. An Edo-speaking region is big and viable and can stay on its own. At least nobody will be constantly be reminded of leaning towards the Igbo, Anioma, or Yoruba Ishekiri. This was also the same issue in the 1960s. Following the mass killing of the people of Asaba and Abo divisions in 1966 during the Araba riots, the Midwest never took the issue seriously. Over 1,000 Anioma people were killed in the north, and when tension arose, the new Edo-speaking leaders of the Midwest pledged neutrality. Sometimes I wonder how can any state be neutral when its citizens are killed? Apart from this, little or no provision was made for Midwest Igbo refugees from the north. Please, people should go read Professor Egoli Uchendu's book. And when a Midwest Igbo officer, Major Albert Okonkwo, supposedly invaded his own region of origin, many Edos, I must insist, not all, in fact, many protected our people. Many Edos connived with federal troops to flush out the invaders, leaving thousands dead. But the clown show did not end until 1991, when we had our independence. Little was located in the Bendel Igbo areas. We had little or no industries. We had little or no infrastructure. The bizarre situation of Ndokwa land, not having a tertiary institution, dates from this period. The Asaba textile mill was replicated in Benin and named Edo Textile Mill. In fact, at the time, over 60% of the state-owned industries of the old Bendel was located in Benin. Most of the rest went to the Warri axis, while the old Bendel North, Eshan, and Afema, because they were well connected to power, secured a beat for their areas. Political positions, even in the old Bendel, was reserved for certain tribes. I won't go into that today. One of the reasons used and promoted for this Bendel model post-1966 is that we all supposedly migrated from Benin. Well, that may be the case among the Edo-speaking people. But when it comes to the Ijaw, Ishekiri, Yoruba, and Anioma Igbo, such generalization will be too simplistic. Maybe it was deployed to unify the people, but the idea is still somewhat based on hangover of Edo imperialism, which tails away with what they promised in the 1960s during our negotiations. I don't have issues with Edo or Edoid people, but they have to be confident to stand on their own. They always seem to fail the test when it comes to that. Under the Midwest, they wanted an idea of we are neither Yoruba, Igbo, or Northern Lenin. And this was what they adopted after over 1,000 Midwest citizens killed in the North. And they sought to punish collaborators from the Midwest Igbo-speaking people who saw their interests protected and projected more by the East. If the Midwest had supported the East and demanded for justice for their pogrom against their citizens, events could well have taken a different direction. But let me assume it was just a mistake. Now, having noted that it could be a mistake, I won't, as a person, take such events such as the show of shame by some real Midwest people against French Igbo-speaking Anioma people, or the fact that an Edo soldier led the assault on Ishiago town in Anyosha South that led to the deaths of over 500 people, including the Obi of the town, as the reason to reject any deal with the Edo. Yes, it is possible, but this will have to be negotiated again. The idea that Anioma people fall under the sphere of Edo by default is an expired idea. Of course, we will project the 2 points I noted here. It is unlikely from the Edo side for them to accept it. In any case, let's look at issues from the socio-economic point of view. We are getting more tied to the East. If you visit Abo area, for example, I don't know how it is now, you will see lots of women with bikes similar to what you have across the East. It may look childish, but this is to point to social makers, which many often ignore, but nonetheless remains the important defining factor. A lot of investment from East flows into Anioma. I want the Edo to invest in Anioma too. But the reality is that they should begin with their own areas. In any case, the Anioma should project the Anioma First doctrine, not Edo First, because of migration or Ada or Iben. There is more to life and present dynamics than these two factors. It wouldn't even make any sense if I supposedly own my origin to another ethnic group, still immersed in this idea of ethnic imperialism. And it also does not make any sense when Ada and Eben is projected. But in any case, these staffs do not originate from Anioma itself, but beyond it. Besides, Anioma people, I believe, want to exploit fully the whole benefits. The stretch of close of 200 kilometers of territory that the Niger flows through. Anioma people, I doubt, will not want this opportunity of the Niger uniting them with the linguistic brothers and possibility as a river port to boost the economy, to act as boundary between a region dominated by the Edo and the Southeast. That will be an economic disaster for the Anioma people. In addition, we should want to keep the entire stretch of the Niger in Abo and Ndoni area in one ethnic unit. Hopefully, we hope the third Niger bridge will connect both towns. Also, it will also make sense to strongly hold on to our cultural and social links with the people of Onitsha, Ogbaru, and Oguta. They are in the east. These people are the closest to Anioma people in everything. And since they are in the east, naturally, we should not for any reason inhibit our social, economic, and social intercourse with the natives and residents of those areas. We are already seeing how Onitsha Nnewi axis is integrating with the Asaba Ogwashi axis.